Hey, if you've already seen the main video at the top of the page, then you get the big picture. You know what LifeSync Hub is, you've seen how the structure works, and you get how it solves the real problems behind chaos and overwhelm. But this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to repeat any of what I said above. So if you haven't seen the explainer video yet, I'd recommend scrolling up and watching that first. I'm going to walk you through all of the dashboards and show you exactly how I use it day to day, so you can see exactly how it works and decide if it's the right template for you. So let's jump in. I'm going to cover three main things today. The first is your homepage, which is essentially your daily control center that shows you everything that matters. Two, we're going to go through the whole flow. So an area, result, project flow. So we'll look at each one of those templates so you can see how that looks in the system. And three, we're going to cover the smart inbox, which is your built-in cleanup engine that spots any gaps before it becomes a problem. And right at the end, I'll touch on the bonus notes hub, which is a clean way to connect your notes to your workflow. Let's get into it. Let's start on the homepage. This is the one page that I open literally every day, and I like to think of this as my control center. So in less than 30 seconds, I get a full snapshot of what actually matters and whether I'm overloaded or on track. Right at the top here, you'll see how many areas I'm managing, how many results and projects are active, and also a live check from the smart inbox, which tells me if anything's missing, broken, or needs my attention. So instantly, by looking at this, I know where my energy is going and what needs a cleanup before it snowballs. Just above that, we've got the menu bar, and this stays pinned across the entire system. So wherever you are, you're just one click away from coming back to the home page or jumping to a specific dashboard. Now, let me scroll down and show you what's underneath. This is the areas overview, and this section shows us the big buckets of our business or life. So as you can see here, I have client success, leads and sales, product, and a few other areas that mark the big buckets of my business. But really what I want to show you here is just how easy it is to see what's going on inside each area. So at a glance, I can see how many goals live in each area, how many projects are currently in motion, and how much is sitting in the backlog for me to work on next. And this helps me spot overload before it becomes a problem. If I see that my leads and sales area is stacked with 8 active goals and 15 active projects, then that's a cue for me to pause and rebalance my work because I can't do all of that at the same time. Or if I see no active results and projects, like I see here in automated business ops, it might mean that something slipped through the cracks. So this view has gotten rid of that terrible feeling I used to get when I'd spend a lot of time focused on one area and not enough time in other areas that are just as important. Scrolling down, the next section is our results overview. So these are your goals or your real outcomes that you're trying to move forwards. And this section shows me what results are active, when each one's due, and how many projects are actively pushing this result forward. And here's the key that I find really useful. If a result has 0 active projects, so I come here and I see that there's 0 active projects in this result, then that means that the result stalled because there's no work moving it forwards. And there's no shame in that. I've had results that sound great in theory, but when I've looked at my week ahead, I've had absolutely no space to work on it. In those instances, I'm either going to start a new project so that I can drive the result forwards, or I'm going to move the result to backlog, which we can see here, knowing that I'll come back to it later. And honestly, that's the power of the second tab here. It shows you all of your goals that are on pause. For me, this has been a game changer. As soon as I finish a result, I just scan my backlog and pull in the next one to work on. So I'll just change the focus level and it should come up, as you see here, in the active view. Now, under the results section, we have the projects overview. And this is where the real work or real execution happens. Every project here will have a clear goal, a start and end date, and a progress bar that updates automatically as you tick off tasks inside each of these projects. And I use this section to see what I'm doing this week, as well as sense check any potential issues like overdue projects, projects that are stalled or have no tasks, or ones that are stacked too close together. But here's the best part. You're not staring at a noisy to-do list. You're seeing the actual projects you've committed to. I like to think of these as containers for meaningful work. And I try to make sure that most of mine run for about 1 to maybe 4 weeks, maximum 6. So if something's dragging on longer than that, I know I need to break it down. Otherwise, it just builds resistance. And sometimes, even with this clarity, I still feel overwhelmed. I've had moments where I've tried to juggle 18, 19 projects at a time and everything felt really loud. So that's when I'd send some of these projects to backlog by changing the status here. So anything that's on hold or to do will show up in the backlog here, which generally tends to give me some breathing space to work with a little bit more focus. I also use this focus level tagging to make a few key projects stand out. So that way, when I come to this section, I can see which ones matter most to me. Oh, and I've forgotten to mention that if anything's unclear on anything that we've covered, so the projects, results, areas, every section has these yellow description boxes with clear pointers about what the view is, how to use it, as well as the sort of insights you can gain from using the view. I think most of it's really self-explanatory, but if you find that there's something that you don't understand or it's not so clear, email me and I'll get back to you. Okay, the final section of the homepage is the weekly workload section, which is tucked away in the section here because it's not something I need to use every day. But every Monday, I'll open it to plan my week. And here's what I check. So I can see all of my active projects here that have tasks inside of them. And also I'm able to see which projects have tasks due this week or tasks due next week. I find this section really helpful because I can spot whether I'm overcommitted or undercommitted for a week really easily. So there you have it. That's the homepage. And you might be thinking, where's the big list of tasks? There isn't one, and that's on purpose because every task lives inside a project, and that's how they're going to stay meaningful and manageable. So each task belongs to a project, each project belongs to a result, and each result sits inside an area. So instead of bouncing between scattered tasks, you're always going to be doing the right work at the right time and for a clear reason. And if you ever want to add anything like a new task, a new project, or a new area, you can come up here to the main menu and use the create tabs to do that. So now that you've seen how the homepage brings everything together, let me really quickly show you how this same structure repeats when you zoom into one part of your business. In my case, I'll open the leads and sales area, and this is where I track everything relating to marketing, content, ads, and social media. So every area you create uses the same structure and it's fully customizable if you ever want to tweak it. But this template automatically gets applied when you create a new area. So as soon as I open this area, it should feel pretty familiar because the flow mirrors what we just saw on the homepage. At the top here, there's a quick section where you can capture why this area matters, followed by an area overview. And this area view gives me a real-time snapshot of how many results I'm working on, how many projects are currently in motion, as well as what's in my backlog. So I can see I have 1 result as well as 8 projects in the backlog. It also breaks down my work by focus level, so I'll be able to see the split of how many projects are key focus versus steady progress. And really, I use this section to gauge how am I doing in this area and whether I've got a healthy backlog of work to get done once I finish what's active. Scrolling down, I see all the results tied to this area. So these are the outcomes I've committed to work on. And this view works just like the results section on the homepage, only I'm not distracted by seeing a whole bunch of results across lots of different areas. I'm just focused on goals inside of this area, so inside of leads and sales. So this makes it a clean way to plan what's active versus what's on hold for this specific area. Right underneath the results overview, we've got our projects linked to this area. Again, it's the same format as the homepage, so we can see what's active, what's backlog, and what's completed. But there's also this additional view to see all of our projects on a Kanban board. So that's really all there is to an area template. There's also this bonus toggle here, which covers the notebooks and notes section, but I'll cover this in a little bit more depth at the end of this video. Now, let's click into one of these results so I can show you how the results template works. So this here is the results template. And again, we have the same flow as we have on the homepage. At the top, there's a short section to capture why this result matters. And then there's a results overview section to see how many projects are active versus how many are in backlog. Below this, we can see our project section. And this is where I can see every project that's linked to this result. So what's active, what's in backlog, what's completed, as well as a Kanban board view of all of my projects. Lastly, let me open a project to show you how the project template looks. And this is typically where the real work happens. So scrolling down, we can see all of our tasks linked to this project, and it's organized by priority, due date, and duration. And this duration is what feeds into the overall project duration, which we see here. Similarly to the area template, there's also a bonus toggle here where you can see your notes tagged to this project. But again, I'll cover this in a little bit more detail towards the end of the video. So there you have it. That's the full flow from an area to a result to a project to the tasks within a project. It's the same structure that we saw on the home page. It's just zoomed in at a different level. And honestly, it's really intuitive and really easy to use. And what I love about this is no matter where I am in the system, I always know why I'm doing what I'm doing and how it connects to the bigger picture. Now, let me talk about one of the most powerful parts of LifeSync Hub, and probably the one I lean on the most when things get messy. It's called the Smart Inbox, and you can see it right here on the homepage. You can think of this like your built-in health check. It finds gaps, catches problems, and shows you where to clean things up. It catches things like tasks with a missing project, projects missing a result, tasks that are due soon but are hiding in backlog, and anything that's overdue in your system. Essentially, if something doesn't quite add up, you'll see it here. Every item is fully clickable, so you can fix it as you go. There's also columns here for the fields that you will need to change, so you can fix them right in the Smart Inbox itself. There's an inbox counter, which shows how many issues are active. So anytime it's not 0, you can come into the inbox and scan the what's missing column here, and it will tell you exactly what you need to fix. A few minutes here can save hours of confusion later, and it just becomes second nature. So there you have it. We've gone through the home page, the flow from areas to tasks, and the Smart Inbox. Just before I wrap up, I want to show you the Notes and Notebooks Hub. This is an optional part to the system, but it's one that I genuinely use all of the time. It's designed to help you keep your thinking close to your work. So I use it to collect ideas, to write my notes, and link them to my areas as well as my projects. If you recall, I showed you the bonus toggle within the area template and the project template, but you can also come into the Notes and Notebooks Hub to be able to explore them within here as well. I know this video is getting long, so I won't take you through it in full, but it's there when you need it, and it works really smoothly with areas and projects. I cover it in a lot more detail in the onboarding video, which you'll receive when you get the LifeSync Hub template. So that's the full system of LifeSync Hub. I genuinely love building systems like this, and it's really important to me that it feels usable and intuitive. It's really easy to set up, so once your work's inside it, you'll have a system you can rely on for a really long time. So thank you for watching this video, and if it feels like the right fit for you, you can grab it right here on this page.